Alrighty, good morning everybody. It is Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. Let's jump back to yesterday. Some pretty good stuff. Go take a look. We were talking about seeing some pretty good clues for a pullback from the all-time high, right? We had a bunch of the higher time frames cluing in, including our 4-hour, our hourly, and our daily, cluing in for a potential pullback. And sure enough, as we came into the open, what was the first level that they tagged nearly, to the tick, within one tick? The previous daily close, our first roadmap level on the chart. So if you tried fading that out of the open, you caught the entire sell-off. If we zoom this out and take a look, you got in at 1375, you took one tick of heat, and you should have been riding this all the way down at least to 50% of the previous day, giving yourself at least 30 points to the downside or so, right? Give or take. So some pretty good opportunity right from the first roadmap level of the morning. As you can see here, tried to come into VWAP, got a nice little scalp off that if you tried that. Came back up, tried to test the previous daily close, failed one tick in front, and then we began the sell-off. So you can see, first of all, they came right into the hopeful, tried to bounce out of that, but could not get through the VWAP, right? So peeked into it, came back, and then if you missed out on a short off the back end of the first roadmap level we had on our chart, well, you could have tried a short off the VWAP for sure, but what I'm pointing to more importantly is right here. You got an opportunity to test to the tick. I think this went through by one tick off the hopeful, holy orange power level, bam. Two opportunities to short that with no risk really, and then you could have captured the whole sell-off. If you missed out on those two opportunities off the back end of the first two major roadmap levels, then you had the opportunity to try and fade the back end of the fast moving average the whole way down. When they got to 50% of the previous day, notice what happened here. It wasn't beautiful. They didn't just come right in, bounce to the tick off of it, get a rotation, but they basically sat here for a while and chopped around. So if you look at the rotations all inside of here, still basically kind of harmonizing right around 50% of the previous day. And then from there, we got the continuation to the downside. So it was a little bit messy when they came over in here, although you can see a lot of the notable rotations were right around 50% of the previous day. And then finally, we got the continuation to the downside here where, once again, now let me just make sure this, So we had two other roadmap levels below us here that I told you could act as support if the bears do start to jump in here. First one being right there, and what do you know, to the tick, they bounced out. So you did have an opportunity to try buying the market there, giving yourself a nice 5, 6, 7 point bounce right to the back end of the 200. Right, and in this case, if you tried to short in the direction of the overarching trend, you could have got in off the 200 there with, again, maybe 1.5, 2 points of risk, and then they continued going. So there was an interesting bounce from there. There was an interesting bounce to the tick right off the next roadmap level there. Again, not getting far enough to really give you a nice big healthy trade, but still holding that area. It looks like it bounced one tick in front. And then what were the next two roadmap levels on the chart? We had 58.53 half. We had the low of the day before. And what do you know? As they continue going in that bearish direction, we get a pretty notable pop nearly to the tick off the first roadmap level there. I was about to sneeze there. And then the second one to the tick off the previous daily low. So once again, we have a day where all of the most notable rotations, although we did kind of miss out on this one over here, were right off of our roadmap levels, right? So if we just kind of summarize here, held the back end of the previous daily close, held the back end of the VWAP, held the back end of the holy orange power level. Came down, got a little sloppy right around 50% of the previous day, but then continued on its merry way lower, only to bounce to the tick off of each discrete roadmap level on the chart. And then on the way down, you can see you did have short opportunities all along the back end of this stuff, and then you had the tag of the back end of the 200 right there that you could have tried a short from, and then at the end of the day just kind of went a little bit sideways there. But pretty good opportunities if you ask me. That brings us into the overnight session last night, where it's been just a little bit of a chop fest down near the lows of yesterday. So in the overnight session, what happened? They pulled back, they bounced 1 or 2 ticks in front of that same roadmap level once again, came up, tried to hold above the VWAP there, and now you can see it's just a total chop fest. Nothing too important to mention inside of here. So that concludes our review for the last day. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames and see what they're hinting at this morning.